It's just like, much more instinctive than the last album. At the end of the day, the production is kind of kept down to a minimum. We're just using kind of all our first ideas. And it's just, the album is just, it could have easily have been our first, as well as it could easily be our last. We think it's that good.
Hello and welcome to a new episode of You Love Us. I am joined today with my special co-host Darren Leach. Hello, Darren.
Well, I'm Australian, so we say g'day.
Oh God, I didn't want to do that in case you got offended. You have these stereotypes, don't you? Going, he's Australian, he must have a Barbie. I didn't want to do that to you.
Well, this shrimp on the Barbie stuff we never do, by the way. So
right, okay. Yeah. It's another.
People quote that.
Yeah.
Another people quote Foster's all the time, and I just have to defend it. We don't drink it, but you can't actually find it. So. But look, we're so laid back. You can give us hell, and obviously the Brits and the Aussies have a bit of rivalry through sport and everything else. So I think we just love each other anyway.
Yeah, we do. We have a firm kinship. So today we're looking at Know Your Enemy. I think it's an album that most Manics fans have quite firm opinions on. I know I do. I personally think, before we go into the album itself, there are some absolutely exceptional tracks on here which may have been overlooked somewhat by the critical response to the album. But can we kick off by finding out a little bit about who Darren is and why you like the Manic Street Preachers?
Well, okay, so I can remember, and I still read it. So I read this magazine called The Record Collector. It's the only one I subscribe to. I know magazines really aren't a thing anymore. But I remember in the back, and this is like, I'm going to say 95. It was before the big album. So it was halfway between the Holy Bible and Everything Must Go. Yeah. And in the back, there was this person, whoever he is in the world, I know he's here somewhere. Don't remember his name, never kept any letters. But we started trading tapes. And he gave me a tape, good old the C90 cassettes, and two of the tracks were off the Holy Bible. One was Faster from memory, and I really don't remember the other song, but I remember I just went, what is it? And I remember that was also when the Beatles released their anthology, because I remember track one was From Us to You, or whatever that song is.
Yeah.
Wasn't a huge fan, but once I heard Faster, I just went, who the hell is this band? Because they were never played on radio in Australia at all. Yeah. And then I just investigated. I found the Holy Bible, bought that. I remember going backwards and getting, obviously, Gold Against the Soul. I probably got Generation Terrorists first, to be fair, and then Gold Against the Soul. And then from memory, I'm pretty sure Everything Must Go came out not long after that. This is a memory of 30 years ago. But I'm not saying I got into the Holy Bible first, because I think, that memories can be a bit weird, but I definitely heard Faster first. So that was my introduction to the Manic Street Preachers. And it was like a band I was just waiting to find. I was just, I just went, oh my God. Of course, fast forward, I bought all their singles. I imported everything from the UK. At the at a very massive cost, because the conversion rate from the Aussie dollar to the pound was like 3 to 1, and I was just spending a lot of money. I know.
But that's fandom, though, isn't it? That is fandom.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, you couldn't find anything in Australia. I did find some old singles, and I've still got everything that, sadly, back at home in Australia. Yeah. But I found a lot of the Aussie singles, and I think they're pretty rare. They're all CD singles, but they're pretty rare because they're definitely all made in Australia. So I was very happy to find those.
Yeah. It's funny with my Englishman's geography, Japan doesn't feel too far away from Australia. I'm sure it is, but they were massive in Japan, and I know it didn't translate that much shorter distance, Japan to Australia, as opposed to UK to Australia.
No. Well, I found it weird that that it was all released in Australia. They did Generation Terrorists, made in Australia CD. Yeah. Gold Against the Soul, made in Australia. And Holy Bible made, and it just went, why is this being produced? They could just import it. Maybe it was just dirt cheap to do it, but it was not on any radio. Yeah. But they released the singles, and I'm thinking, how are they making money on this? But didn't argue, because I found it, love it, got all the B-sides, listened to all those.
So what was the music scene like in Australia at that time? Was it Was there space for them, or were they blocked out by different genres at that time?
Britpop was definitely coming in. So I'm young enough to remember grunge, and that really did change. I know everyone talks about this, but it really did change. Because I remember early in 1990, you know, like Jesus Jones was big, and all that kind of dance rock stuff, you know, Pop Will Eat Itself and all that, you know, the baggy trousers and all that kind of stuff. But then, honestly, Nirvana and Pearl Jam and Soundgarden, everything got booted out. But I got to say, but then obviously Britpop came in, and sadly the Manics were lumped into that.
They were.
I feel, obviously. I disagree with that. But,
totally.
But I got to say, in the mid, obviously, once Kurt passed, everyone was like, "Oh, what do we do?" So you know, you'd hear bands like Bush, and obviously Silverchair was still going. All those second tier grunge bands, but then you know, like Pulp was on the radio, stuff like that. Suede was on the radio. And I'd hear a lot of the second tier ones like Menswear and things like that. Nothing wrong with that. They had a couple of good songs, but that really changed. But I got to say, the 2000s, even the 90s for Australian music was amazing, because the bands would always tour. You know, they'd release a single in tour. They released the album in tour. They'd play festivals. That's my cat. So Australian music was amazing. Like bands like The Clouds and Something for Kate, and there's a lot of bands I can probably say that people won't know. But I think Australian music was just really strong and rich, and there was money in the music industry back then. So bands could tour. They could, you know, not work and release albums and singles and just tour. Write. That's the whole point, isn't it? You don't have to stress about a job. You're there to write. So,
right. Because when we'll get onto the album in a tick, but I just find your backstory really, really interesting. That you've got this birth of the Manics. Would you say that the Manics then, that love of Manics and music, that pushed you into your early career? You know, you went into music writing, or sorry, not music writing, reviewing and interviewing.
Yeah, I did the classic thing. 1997, I worked for a record store, and I just went, oh yeah, like I loved it. Like that was my second job. First job, pizza delivery boy. And as I said, all my money just went to collecting stuff from overseas, because you got to realize in Australia we stopped making vinyl. Yes, a couple of indies. You know, there was a label called Murmur, which was mainly Australian stuff. They did some vinyl. Something for Kate, as I mentioned, was on that. Silverchair was also on that. But no one else was doing it. All the big ones weren't doing it. So I was importing everything. I was like, oh my God, there's a 7-inch single. Oh my God, there's a 10-inch. I love 10-inch singles. You know? There's a 12-inch. You know, oh my God, there's, what was it? Stay Beautiful, 12-inch came in a poster sleeve. I went, oh my I was going bananas. Because don't forget, when the year I discovered them, they had 3 albums. So they had all these singles. Generation Terrorist had 6 singles on it. It's just like, there was a 12-inch, there was a gatefold, there was there was a CD single, and oh my God, it was amazing. And then after working in the record store, that's when I became a writer. It was look, because we used to have free, we called them street mags. They were free, so they were like The Enemy but better. You didn't have to pay for them. They came out weekly, but they had interviews. You know, they had ads for gigs, ads for this album's coming out, and I think that the gig guide and things like that. You know, reviews. Everyone, and it always used to come out, I think on a Wednesday, because Thursday was when the gigs really started. Thursday, Friday, Sunday, and even some gigs on Sunday, sort of the local stuff. So I would read them. And so that kind of formed the tone of your writing. So I think when I got that job, even though I had no experience, I was just talking about, I went to a lot of gigs and I read this, I'm tuned in, I know a lot of bands. You know, you just meet bands, because that's my thing. That's all I did. I spent my money on collecting and going out and drinking beer and seeing gigs. That's all I did, you know, and I loved it.
What more do you need?
Yeah.
What more do you need? So go on then. Know Your Enemy. They were at the peak of their commercial and critical success. They just done Everything Must Go, This Is My Truth, Tell Me Yours, and then Know Your Enemy comes out. What was your initial reaction to it the first time you listened to it?
Loved it.
Yeah.
I never thought it was different to This Is My Truth, Tell Me Yours. I thought it was just a great follow-up to it.
Yeah.
Because I feel a lot of their albums did change. And nothing against This Is My Truth. I don't really listen to that as much. I found it a bit too close to Everything Must Go.
Yeah.
What I liked about the Manics was every album was just different. I think This Is My Truth, Tell Me Yours, that was actually the first gig I ever saw in Australia. They toured in '99 for the big day out.
Yeah.
Couldn't believe they were there, but I just went, no one knows who they are in Australia. But I was so happy.
Oh, wow.
Love the album at the time, but I don't listen to it as much, you know. I think there's a few filler songs, but look, great album, went to number one, all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
This album was just so different. It was so raw. And I think it was just the album I was looking for after Everything Must Go, to be fair.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it was Nicky that said something around the lines of that they wanted to make an album that would burn down the commercial behemoth that they created from the previous two albums, and that goes back to the ethos of Generation Terrorist and to some degree Gold Against the Soul as well. But it's when the album clicks in, and we're talking about the original release, the 2001 release. It's that kicking of Found That Soul that screams in every decibel, this is a Manic Street Preachers song. There's nothing clever. It's not being written to achieve anything apart from noise and destruction. And I think it is an awesome way to start an album. It's one of my favorite first album tracks across any album.
Yeah.
It's just, it just grabs you and just goes, let's go.
Yeah, love it. 3 minutes and 5 seconds. What more do you need? Yeah,
4 chords.
You're right. It's straight out of the gates, quick fire punk rock number.
Yeah.
As you said, Generation Terrorist kind of ethos.
Yeah. Definitely. And
loved it.
I think James said it was us saying we still had fire in our bellies. We didn't want to be Coldplay. Poor old Coldplay. Oh dear. Oh dear. So we go from Found That Soul onto what is a very, very personal song for James, but what is an insanely beautiful song, and that's Ocean Spray. And I remember the first time I heard that, and the when you get to the middle eight and the trumpet comes in with that lament. I'm sure I was pretty close to. I was very emotional listening to it, and I didn't understand why. It was only when I found out that it was written for his mum that it kind of clicked with me. What was your take on that song?
Yeah, I did like it. I didn't find out until years later that it was about his mum.
Yeah.
And so living in Australia, there was just no interviews and things like that. So and it was just harder to get things. The internet wasn't really, firing up on all cylinders yet. It was the third single. Obviously the first two were released on the same day. Found That
same
Soul.
day. Strange,
so
isn't it?
Said, yeah. So obviously, as I said, a little bit softer. This is a little bit softer. It kind of, but that's what I like about the Manics is they can go from that punk rock number of Found That Soul and then release Ocean Spray, whether you know the meaning of it or not. It's a great, dare I say, pop ditty. So
it is, and the one of the few bands that can do that change from the more punk to the more ballad or slower or softer songs without selling their soul in the transition, because you still know it's a Manic song. It's undeniable. Ocean Spray is as gentle and as beautiful it is definitely a Manic Street Preachers song, and that is the beauty of their work, is that they have that stamp on it, but it's a stamp of authenticity and commitment. And I can't praise that song enough. I just think it's a beautiful piece.
Yeah, and obviously James wrote the lyrics to it, which he hadn't really done.
Yeah.
So, as you said, it still sounds like a Manic song. When I found out, I went, James wrote it. Yeah, it sounds like a Manic song.
Yeah. And then when you find out why he wrote it, and it all just, it just slots in. It's most probably one of those songs that was, you hear a musician saying, "Oh, it took me 5 minutes to write it," and you think, "How?" And that's most probably one of those songs that took 5 minutes to write. I've not seen him interviewed about the writing of it, but I can just imagine somebody of his ability of just knocking that one out and going, "That'll do."
It'd be interesting to hear a story about it. Like, obviously, his mum passed, so did he just pick up a guitar? Was it in the corner? And I need to express what I have inside and get it out.
Yeah, maybe one day one of us will get to ask him that question.
I'll ask Sean.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Go on, tell your Sean story.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So I've been lucky enough to interview the Manic Street Preachers twice. I can't remember the years. One was definitely 2010 because they toured. I was back in Australia in 2010 when they did the Postcards album tour, and first time, can't remember, but it was a few years before that. But I got Sean both times, and love you, Sean, but you're not the most talkative. And I read other interviews around the time, and it was like he had the same lines ready to go.
Right. Yeah.
And it was like, that's what he said for me, and I just went, But I got to interview the Manic Street Preachers. Definitely not complaining. Just I'd rather interview. Obviously, Sean writes the music, but I think he's the third person writing. Nothing wrong with that. Obviously, Nicky does 99% of the lyrics. Just be good to interview Nicky because then you can talk about the meaning of songs.
Definitely. Although they are quite accessible in extended interviews when they're talking about the creation of the music. So there's plenty out there. Intravenous Agnostic, one of my favourite choruses. I think it was James said this is wire at full wire. And you just think, it sure as hell is.
As in the band Wire?
No, as in Nicky Wire.
Yeah. I've got one word for this song, rocker. I love this.
Oh,
track.
yeah.
Definitely one of my favourites off the album. Raw rock energy again, much like Found That Soul. Yeah. And I'm going to say, as I said, love Sean, great drumming on this.
Yeah.
I reckon this is the fastest he's had to do for a long time. So
yeah.
And I noticed, and it's throughout the album that Nicky is on backing vocals for this. I don't remember an album he's done so many backing vocals, and he's on quite a few.
Yeah, and that's a good shift. I think he does a very, very good job at it. Now this is where I struggled a little bit with the album. So we get on to So Why So Sad. Now I think this is a great song, but I think the production on it is awful.
Yes, but you know what Nicky has said?
No, go on.
Because the remix. The remix is so my introduction obviously to this album, because the Australian version had 2 extra tracks at the end.
Right.
Well, the last track, Masses Against the Classes.
Yeah.
And the remix of So I So Sad, the Avalanches remix of it. So I do remember radio in Australia playing this particular track because we loved the Avalanches back then.
Yeah.
So this got a bit of a play. And I actually, in iTunes days where you could delete tracks, and all that, I made this track 4. I made the remix track 4. So I rarely listened to the actual album version. I really like the Avalanches version.
Right. So I'm going to have to dig that out because
it's a bit more brighter. It's a bit more fun. And I know Nicky has said in an interview, he said, I like that better.
Yeah. I just find I find the production on this song for such a good song. The production is terribly thin. There's almost like there isn't, but it feels like there's a layer of static between the vocals and the instruments, and it doesn't sit right for me. So any remix, as far as I'm concerned, would be.
Can I give you a quick quiz? So this was released obviously at the same time as Found That Soul.
Yep.
They both made the top 10.
Yep.
Which one charted higher?
I would say So Why So Sad.
You are correct. Which I find interesting. I just thought, one was 8, one was 9. I still Found That Soul just because it was a rocker and just, as you said earlier, kicking the balls.
Yeah, but I think
I prefer that than.
Yeah, I think at the time though it was it was deep in Britpop, and people wanted melody over aggression or intellect. Yeah, and I think
True.
as great as Found That Soul is, as great as both tracks are, I could just see So I Shall Sad being more appealing to the masses. Yeah.
But yeah, check out the Avalanches remix.
I will do. Thank you for that. Great thing. Let Robesome Sing. Now, I was kind of like taken aback by this track when I first heard it. I found it so incredibly melodic. I know now because it's like this song in particular is like a gateway to James's first solo album. There's a lot of similarities in the writing style and the structure of the songs. Love it to bits. But it was the one track on the album that just made me go, ooh, and I had to sit back and listen for a bit. I bet you didn't, did you?
No, I do like this song. It's neither here nor there with me. I don't skip it or anything like that. I think it's a bit of a forgotten single, definitely, because what was it, the fourth single or something?
Yeah.
So it's just a nice song.
Yeah. Well, James said it was a hymn to solidarity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like the lyrics because he talks about meeting Castro, which when you think about it, then they did.
Well, they did it at the Havana launch party, didn't they? Fidel Castro was actually
this was obviously released.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was obviously released before.
Yeah, and you like, of all the people to turn up at a launch party, Fidel Castro.
I read something that they met him half an hour before going on stage. Imagine that.
Oh, God.
You'd be pooing your pants.
You would, wouldn't you? Yeah.
We just met Castro and we're about to go on stage.
Yeah. And as you're coming off, they go, and Mr. Trump would like to meet you now. Yeah, great, thanks. I shall have that. Okay.
Not available.
Yeah. So Nicky then grabs the microphone and takes centre stage on the Year of Purification. Reminded me a little bit of The Fall, Mark E. Smith, that kind of delivery. It's punky. It's exactly what you want. But I did get a bit of a Fall vibe from it.
Okay. I tried to get a gateway into The Fall because obviously I'd heard about him. I'd read about him in Record Collector magazine.
Yeah.
Didn't resonate with me. It was just, I don't know. There was a lot. There's so much.
There is a lot of their material, and they are an incredibly northern band. That a lot of what they're talking about is specific to the north of England, particularly Manchester. And Marky Smith you like him or you don't.
May you rest in peace.
Yeah. There's no gateway. There's no halfway.
Never played on radio in Australia. So never knew about him until I moved here, hearing, who's this? The Fall. Oh, they've been around for a long time. So I think just some bands, like the Manics, they never really resonated outside the UK. Not really. They did tour Australia, they did tour the US, Japan, Europe, but it was really just here.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah. So what did you think of the track itself? Is that
I was surprised it wasn't a single. It's got Manic Street Preachers written all over it from the previous couple of albums. If you said that was on This Is My Truth, I'd go, yep, I can see that. Just surprised it wasn't a single because it's very radio friendly. Yeah. And it was all about getting on radio still back in 2001, wasn't it? So I find it interesting. It's the opening track for the 2022 Deluxe Edition.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is a good opening track.
No, we talked about that earlier.
Not a good opening song. Yeah.
Yeah. Because as we both said, you need that kick in the balls. You need the door being thrown open, and it's, ladies and gentlemen, the Manic Street Preachers. You don't need something which isn't strong, if that makes sense. Yeah. It
doesn't grab you like Found That Soul did.
Oh no.
Great. Hey, track 2,
yeah.
Like Ocean Sprays, a much softer song, isn't it?
Yeah. I think they most probably wrote Found That Soul with the intention of opening the album with it, and maybe 21 years later they've changed their direction slightly, but that is a very Manics way of opening an album.
Yeah, it's Nicky, isn't it? Though he's the archivist, and the revisionist, isn't he?
He is. Yeah, he's very much.
Yeah.
He with everything, with the music, with the interviews, the merchandise. He's got one or multiple of everything. So he's definitely the archivist. Yeah. You just imagine some of the money that's in some of those secret cubby holes.
I'd love to see some early T-shirts. I see him obviously, on Facebook, on the Manic Street Preachers Facebook group, and sometimes on eBay. You just go, and they're like 300 quid. It's like,
it's crazy. I saw a first pressing copy of Nevermind the Bollocks today by the Sex Pistols, which wasn't complete. It had the one-sided 7-inch single of Submission on it, but didn't have the tour poster with it, and the spine was quite badly,
because you put that up on the wall.
Yeah, quite badly dog-eared. £500 for that. So,
but when you think about it, it's it's real. If you found a mint copy, you'd go, hang on a minute. There's no way anyone from 1976 kept that as a mint copy. You played that. You lent it to your friends. You lost it. You skidded on it. It got stepped on during a party.
My copy of Nevermind the Bollocks is bald now. The cover's in great condition, but the vinyl is completely worn out. So I've mostly bought the album on vinyl 3 times, worn out the original, got another copy of it, got a cheaper copy of it, just so I can keep listening to it. But I think it's one of the few albums I've actually worn out, which is quite an achievement.
Wow.
When you think about it. It really is an achievement. So where are so we're up to Wattsville Blues, and that's named after Blues. It's named after a place near Blackwood where they started.
For me, this was the first time on the album I went, not feeling it. But so I found this album, the whole album, they're doing 20 genres in 16 tracks, stuff like that.
Definitely.
Love it. Obviously, Nicky Wire, this is his, he's on lead vocals. Mm-hmm. And they use different sounds in it. So they've got that, I don't know if it's a melody. It's kind of that to start off with. Is it a drum machine or a melody? I'm not a musician, so
it more than probably be something like a syndrome. So it'd be like some kind of sequenced hi-hat.
Yeah, and then it kicks into the guitar. Yeah. I don't know. For me, it sounds more of a demo, but I suppose that's the rawness of this album. This album's nowhere near as polished as the previous album. So it's okay. It's just not one of my favorites.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. I really would. I think
it's a good B-side.
It would make a cracking B-side. I think it was NME that said that this is either going to be a cult classic or a stinker. So thanks for that really generous editorial comment there. We appreciate your time. This is where I got really, really interested in the album, because up until track number 8, it was definitely a Manic Street Preachers album. Okay, there was no doubt about it. But then we get to Miss Europa, Disco Dancer, and I'm like, wow. I'm not 100% convinced it works as well as they wanted it to, but I love it. It's like Goldfrapp meets the Manics. It's just,
I love this track.
It's just genius.
I love this track.
Yeah,
because I love old school funk and disco, the good disco, not that cheesy stuff. And the bass on this is just so good. And really? I remember hearing it. I still remember hearing this when it came out, and I went, love it. But I think a lot of people don't like this song. I think I remember reading comments about it, just going, I think when this was reissued 3 years ago, then everyone obviously started listening to it again, just commenting about the tracks. And I swear I saw people just going, I don't like Miss Europa, just get out.
Oh, it's such a good track.
Love it.
It's letting them be something else, because obviously they've got massive inspirations from lots of different musical types, including ABBA. James and Nicky have both been quite open about their love of ABBA, and I think you can start to see, pianos and bass runs, all of those things that make a glam funk song. And I think it's just genius that they can do this and then swap guitars and then go back to being the Manics, and they're not ashamed of it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. They did it again, and my brain isn't working today at all. But one of the more recent albums where they went, well, they pretty much went full ABBA, and they had that. Oh, my brain's not working at all. I'll insert the track name here in an edit. But there was no, it's gone completely. I'll have to come back to that at some point. So we finish with Miss Europa and then jump into Dead Martyrs, and straight away turn the guitars back up.
Love it.
Yep.
Love it. It just proves, like, just to finish off Miss Europa, Nicky does backing vocals again. So he's back there.
Yep.
But once again, it just explores another genre, isn't it? Like we've gone disco. Yeah. But I think, don't forget the end of it is when he, swears, brain dead. But it's apparently it was about the teenagers, 20-somethings that just go to Ibiza and just get peeled off their head. Yeah, apparently
that makes,
because that's what their brain dead mother is. So
that makes perfect sense. That does. That really, really does.
Yeah, but look, we've gone from Let Robson Sing to Europe Purification, so we're poppy there. Then we've got this blues number, disco, Miss Europa, and then back
to
back to
punk.
Rock.
Yeah,
back to the raw energy.
Yeah, and James says this was us at our most self-righteous, which is, he's almost turning a bit Bono on us there. Not too much, though. I think it works. I think it's a really, really good song. And I've heard them do it live, and it translates really well into a live environment.
I've hardly heard any of this live. They don't do much live on this album.
No, they don't.
Ocean Spray, I think that's an obvious song.
Yeah.
But I may have heard, probably Found That Soul.
Yeah.
But I got to say, nothing else.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the track listing and just going, I can't. And as I said, it's one of my favourite albums. It'd be in my top 5 easily if we're getting to that. But love Dead Martyrs. It's that chugging guitar. I wish I was a musician, because I'd love to just play guitar and play drums, because in my vintage years, I just think, surely all the riffs are done. All the riffs are done. And then this new song, I know it's 2001, but you hear a song this year and you go, how has that riff never been done? So the whole point is, it's got this great chugging guitar, and there are 16 tracks. I'll repeat that again, 16 tracks.
16
they're going to think up 16 different ideas. And this is brilliant. Like Intravenous Agnostic, I'd say that's in the same ballpark as this song. Completely different song, though.
Yeah.
But they're both just this raw energy. Found That Soul, kind of that raw energy again. It's just, I love this track. This would easily be in probably my top, I'm going to say top 20 Manic songs. I never tire of this song.
Yeah. I think
it's far removed from This Is My Truth sound-wise.
Oh, most definitely. I think the whole album is very far removed from it. The whole production technique and the whole production ethos is very, very removed from that clinical commerciality of This Is My Truth. That they were riding that crest of being the critics' darlings. They were amassing their fan base. I'm not surprised they went for maybe the safer sound on This Is My Truth. There comes a time, if in your first album you don't sell 16 million copies and split up, there comes a time where you've got to realize the financial security from being in a band, and I think Everything Must Go and This Is My Truth was that opportunity for them to cash in on the rewards.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad they didn't sell 16 million copies, because we should be talking about this.
God, album. I know. Wouldn't have been one of the greatest.
And it was so tongue-in-cheek anyway.
Yeah, I know, yeah. The one thing that surprised me about this album is how low the total sales were in the UK.
No.
It was 150,000 copies.
And
I think
everyone dropped off.
Yeah, I think This Is My Truth did. Was it 1.5 million or something like that? And it's
exactly.
it's the polar opposite. It's like the sales of a very well received first album as opposed to a okay received fifth album. You know, it's.
And see, I never knew it didn't sell well because I was working for that website, AdelaideTribe.com. Doesn't exist anymore. And I remember going to the Sony offices, and the rep gave me this album, and I was just so excited to hear it. And obviously CDs back then, and I definitely would have driven and popped that CD in, and I just went, I love this album.
Yeah,
a couple of skippers, but hey, on 16 tracks.
It's it peaked at number 2, or entered the charts at number 2. It's held off number 1 by this is embarrassing. Okay,
Steps.
No, worse than that. The UK should hang their heads in shame. It was Shaggy's Hot Shot, which included the track It Wasn't Me. You know, and you just think to yourself, be dismayed at UK. Come on, lads. Pull your fingers out and buy the right album. But 150,000
just shows one song. Yeah. Just shows one song can sell an album.
Oh,
you know, Shaggy. What are you doing now?
Yeah, it's like the Extreme, you know, the Extreme story. They released More Than Words, and everybody flocked out to buy Porno Graffiti, and then that was one of the most returned albums of the year because people had got home, put it in. Track 1 is Get the Funk Out or whatever it is, and you're like, that's not More Than Words. What's going on here? That's not suitable.
Nope. Yeah. That was big in Australia, that song, and they had another song, didn't they? Another kind of
Get the Funk Out followed that, and there was
More Than Words and
Wholehearted.
There's a hole in my heart,
Wholehearted,
that can only be filled.
Yeah, Wholehearted. Yeah,
sadly, still played on Australian radio today.
Yeah, and where are they now? Nuno Bettencourt, still one of the best guitarists alive, but where are Extreme now? That's all I'll say.
Are they still going? Surely they're
still
going.
No, they are.
Van Halen 3 didn't work out, did it?
Yeah, no, Extreme are still going, but they're more of a filler band now because Bettencourt is being part of lots and lots of different kind of like super groups and side projects now.
Gotcha.
Because he is a seriously, seriously talented musician, whereas the others are maybe riding his coattails a little bit. If that's not too rude. Sorry, Gary and the other two. I can't remember your names. So we move on then to a really surreal, soft, gentle, His Last Painting. And
great song.
Yeah. Wow. It sounds like a bit of a weird analogy, this, but to go from Dead Martyrs to land onto this beautiful pillow of His Last Painting, just to rest there for a moment. Amazing.
For me, it's got this really infectious guitar melody.
Yeah.
And it's a mid-tempo track. It's fine. Dead Martyrs did what it did.
Yeah.
Good to just step down for a little bit. It's only 3 minutes 15.
Yeah.
Easy, you know. Yeah. And it's just got this kind of simple drum. So it's built around the melody of James's guitar.
Yeah.
And then I think they just went, Sean just went, I can just do this on the drums. Yeah, and I find it complements the guitars. What I really love is the distorted guitar solo about, 2 minutes in.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Yeah. So good.
Yeah. It's James is one of these, he's one of these very rare musicians that knows exactly what needs to go in a song and exactly where, when, and why. Because so many people go, you know, intro, chorus, verse, chorus, middle 8, chorus, out. He's not afraid to try something different, and I think that distorted guitar solo is a nice little example of him being brave and knowing his music better than we do. Yeah,
and just to echo that, do you remember the end fades out, and it's got kind of, I'm not an arranger of a song, but it's this echoing kind of percussion effect at the end.
Yeah.
Hey, whatever it is, it works.
Yeah, it does.
Works, and I would say that was probably James who did that.
Almost definitely.
Let's arrange this.
Yeah. almost definitely. He was looking for something different at the end of the song as opposed to just a standard fade or a cut. I'm going to let you pronounce. I'm going to let you pronounce track number 11 because I am notoriously at mispronouncing things.
What is it? He sings it.
Guernica, yeah.
Oh man, I was listening to it today. Guernica. It was
Guernica.
Guernica.
Yeah, okay.
Because I was wondering the same.
Yeah. Nicky Y described that's the kind of anger that still feels pure. So he obviously enjoyed the furious nature of it, almost harking back to the Holy Bible.
I thought it was, so it's track 11. There's nothing wrong with the song, but it just seems we have a few of these songs already, but better.
Yeah.
So I do like it, but if you removed it, I don't think anyone would complain about that. I found it weird with the phone call about 4 minutes in. There's a phone call, and I'm pretty sure it's James. He goes, "Hello," and then they finish the song, and it is almost 5 minutes. You could have easily trimmed it at about the 4 minute mark, and the phone call is just unnecessary.
I think the thing is that it's a 16-track album, which is a lot of tracks. You know, it's a lot of time to fill, and I think that you're more than probably right that this is one that just kind of like slips in there and slips out.
What they should have done was it was meant to be a double album, isn't it? Yeah. But I feel some of the B-sides, which we may touch on later, are better as B-sides. So when it was reissued in 2022, I don't think the flow of it when it is a double album. So I find this is probably another good B-side, or maybe they should have just released another album in, I don't know, 6 months' time, like Metallica did, Load and Reload. Was that like 6 months, a year later? Yeah. Do those extra songs, and you go, cool. You know, it's great.
Yeah.
Because they're obviously writing a lot during this period. Like, how many songs was it? It was, 40 odd or something. I don't know. Amazing. Like, it's amazing how much they've written.
It's a crazy number of songs to have, because they seem to do that with every album where they write and write and write and write. And then they've got to cull back. Whereas a lot of bands can actually struggle to do the 10 tracks, 11 tracks, whatever it is they need. I don't think they ever seem to struggle with that, which is phenomenal. It's great for us as fans.
Yeah,
maybe not great for them.
I didn't know it was. I didn't know it was meant to be a double album initially, and the record company vetoed it. So hence the 2022 reissue where it was the double album. So, but I got to be on the side of the record company because I like the sequencing of this album over the double album.
Totally agree. I know some people complain about it jumps around too much between the styles, and you can't get comfortable listening to it because 1 minute you're at 90 BPM, the next minute you're at 140, or there's guitars and then there's not. But I quite like that because to me it shows the expanse of their skill. You know, because it's not easy writing songs in different genres. You know, I think they do it really, really well. Next one, James describes this as one of the songs I wish I had produced differently. It had more in it than we captured, and that is The Convalescent. Slow burning, dark ballad. Would that be fair?
Yeah, I had another rocker with a few breakdowns. So it would go up and then it'd break down.
Yeah.
And I felt, I think it's a good track. But once again, I think it just needs to be trimmed because it's almost 6 minutes.
Yeah.
So, but it's different to my Guernica, very different to his last painting. So just shows the many genres of this album.
The many genres of the Manics. This is one of my favourites off the album, Royal Correspondent. It's obviously a swipe at the royal family, so let's not box around that anywhere. Snide and acidic, I think, is a good way of describing it. And the critics hated it. They were very unkind about this track.
Oh, really?
Whether they were just trying to be terribly English or not, I do not know, but I like it. I got a real big buzz from this track.
Sadly, on the opposite. It's not one of my favourites.
Yeah.
And I just think Look, it's 3 minutes 30. It's fine, isn't it? I just remember I'm prone to skipping this song. I don't skip many, but if I'm listening to the album in full, I will listen to the album in full. If I want to just listen to my favourite, say 13 tracks off a 16 track, this would be a skip.
Yeah. So, and that's the beauty of being a Manics fan. You can quite easily, you can quite safely say, I skipped that track without judgment, because there's so many tracks to live by. Epicenter's next, which is, I suppose for the period, it was almost shoegazy. I don't even think shoegazy is an adjective, is it? It's a bloody awful word if it is. But it was a little bit, of the time, but very melodic.
This was a slow burner for me. I remember at first I didn't really like it. Look, maybe it's not exhaust. I shouldn't use exhaustion because I love all tracks by the Manics.
Yeah.
But track 14, you're kind of getting near the end, and you've probably had all the genres by now. Although next up is Baby Alien, which is one of the best songs of the album. We'll get to that in a sec. But it took me a while to get into it, and I got to say it is the longest track on the album. It's 6.5 minutes. But obviously, I've listened to this album a lot, but I listened to it obviously a bit more leading up to this podcast, and it dawned on me, and I just went, I do like this song. It's not it was never really a skipper, but it was kind of a forgotten track near the end. Just for me, I think just because how good Baby Alien is. How soaring that is. I forgot about this song. But I got to say, I actually prefer the 2022 TLA mix.
Ah, right.
Because it's more heavier on the guitars. Yeah, because I listened to that side by side. And when I heard it, I just went, this sounds kind of different. And I put it in. It's, I suppose this one on the original album is a bit more raw. So I think they tinkered with it and turned the guitars up. So I just went, it just seems the mix is more fuller.
Yeah,
just made me enjoy the song more. So
But and that is one of my overall complaints of the album is that at times the mix isn't right. It's which is strange because it's the same producer as Gold Against the Soul. This Is My Truth.
Oregon
Must Go. Yeah, but Oregon. Yeah, so it's the same producer. Was he having a bad day? I don't know. You would think he would know the band and what they were trying to achieve with their sound by then, or were they purposely pushing the sound away from what would be expected? It's an interesting one because some of the tracks fall a little bit flat because of the way they're mixed. It's a good job. They're bloody good songs.
Yeah. I did note that it's another keyboard song. So there's Found That Soul and another one I mentioned earlier. Get to it, doesn't really matter. But you can hear, it's not full on in the mix, but you can hear them going ding, 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 kind of that driven. Yeah. So that's in this as well as Found That Soul and another track. But love it.
Yep.
Really loved it this week, as I said. So, but here we go. So, did you notice when they sung that line, "Happy Black Days, This Is the Summer," where he repeats it a few times?
Yeah.
And I went, hang on, I've heard this before. Did you know it's also in Masking Tape?
All right.
It's exactly the same line. And I went, hang on a minute. Yeah, same thing. Happy Black Days, This Is the Summer. Over and over. Yeah. And obviously Masking Tape B-side later on the deluxe edition, of course. And I went, what on earth have they put that in twice?
How weird. I wonder what. I wonder if there was a reason, or it just seemed to fit in the moment. Musicians can be strange beasts, can't they? So maybe just fit.
Both of them are kind of near the end of the track, but then you've got like another minute or so of the song. It picks back up. I just go, I just never really noticed that, I suppose, at the time. Because when you hear it, you go, oh, that's that. That line that I know.
Maybe it's the musical curveball. You're getting to the end of a 16-track album. We're going to give you something which might just pique your adrenaline a little bit because you'll go, oh, what's that? It's certainly an interesting technique. So Baby Alien, song about Elion Gonzalez, the Cuban child at the center of an international custody battle. Critics again weren't
Another
kind
Cuban
to this.
reference.
Yeah, but the critics didn't like it again.
I think it's one of their best songs. It's definitely pop.
Yeah,
you know.
but the critics said it was too topical, and therefore wouldn't age well. And I think that's somebody being a critic for a critic's sake. Personally, you know, take the song on face value, enjoy what it's giving you. Don't read too much into it. You know, it's music, for God's sake. Nobody's going to die. Yeah.
How many tracks are topical anyway? Like, yeah. Like, there's so many that wouldn't age well by that definition.
Yeah, it's somebody having to write a critique, and they're writing something to make people go, oh, how dare they? Just to try and get some readers or some kind of response. But I think they failed. I think it's a fantastic song.
Oh, fantastic song.
Yeah,
Wasn't a single, was it? That should have been.
No, I don't think it was. I think what it has, though, it has all of the stamps of a Manic song. You know, you can hear the individual elements working together there. It is just a great song. Really, really good.
I think it's one of James's best singing performances as well.
Yes. Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And especially track 15.
Yeah. I saw him being interviewed, and he said that sometimes he feels like a fake because he's singing Nicky's words, and he doesn't know how to stamp his emotions or his experiences onto somebody else's words. And, you know, this is obviously something Nicky was very, let's say, obsessed about at that time. James's performance, it came from somewhere. It goes to show what a truly awesome singer he is.
I agree. Yeah. Absolutely. And his voice is still strong.
Oh, today. Totally. Yeah, he's not suffered that weakness that carries with so many rock singers. You know, as they get a bit older, the vocal
I saw that Q&A. Yeah, you know that the book they released, the
168
songs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So they did the Q&A in London here at a venue called Earth, and he would sing some songs as well. Like, he didn't sing whole songs; he would just do snippets. And I was like going, man, his voice just still sounds so good.
Oh,
you know? And songs I've probably not heard before, because he would the compare. I can't remember, so it was the author. Sorry, forgot his name, but he would just go, "Oh, let's talk about this song." Yeah. James, just play a little bit for us.
It's amazing, but he has got the Welsh Valleys DNA in him, of the choirs, the Welsh mining choirs. He's got that DNA in him, and you look at somebody like Tom Jones, you know, not from the same neck of the woods, but again with that Welsh DNA in him of the miners. He's, what is he now, 80? Older than 80?
Still going.
And
he's older.
He still belts out at a fair old pace. There's something in the Welsh air, there's something in the Welsh water. Let's put it that way. You know, maybe they should bottle it and sell it to us weaker English people. So, track 16, we are here at the end of the album. Freedom of speech won't feed my children. Okay.
Or are we at the end?
Well, are we? Exactly.
There's the hidden track.
There is. This is, I don't know, I think it's Nicky being Nicky, isn't it? You know, it's a very bitter lyric. Yeah.
I think because the lyric was from a politician or something.
Yes, Zapatista.
But I reckon he just went, I'm going to write a song around that. Freedom of speech went, female children. Yeah.
Yeah. He mostly saw it and he went, Christ, that'll make a really good song title. That.
Yes.
How do I write around that? There's my goal. How do I write my way to the goal? Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. That wouldn't surprise me.
One of the most Manics, song titles ever.
Yeah. And Nicky said, you know, a reminder that slogans don't fill stomachs. No shit. Thanks, mate. Yeah, I appreciate that one. So, take it away on the hidden track then.
I would say final track is it's good. It's a great ending.
Yeah.
Or is it? Well, it's a cover, isn't it?
Yeah.
By a person called McCartney or a band called, I'd never heard of them before. It's kind of this kind of pop ditty. We're all,
Yeah.
I don't even know how to say it, bored just now.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's I love hidden tracks. Like I was, around when CDs were a thing, and hidden tracks were. It was like, whoa, the CD hasn't stopped. What's happening? And you never knew how long the break was. And the classic one is obviously Nevermind by Nirvana.
Yeah,
it's a good 25 minutes afterwards or something like that. So this one's not as far, but it's a good 7 or 8 minutes.
Yeah.
But it's fine. Do you know what? It's a great hidden track, isn't it?
And
it's an unusual track, though.
Yeah.
For them, to make that a hidden track, a cover. Yeah, but that's the Manics way. Do what you want.
Well, we'll be doing an episode shortly about covers and collaborations, because they are one of the bands that have this knack of covering songs in a unique way. They can take a Umbrella by I've forgotten the lady's name now. Covering that and turning that into a Manic song. What an achievement. What an absolute achievement.
Rihanna,
thank you.
They did Rihanna.
Yeah.
So when I first lived in London from 2005 to 2008, I worked at HMV.
Yeah.
In Hammersmith. One of the best 2 years of my life, because obviously working in music, loved it. But that's when that came out, and I did see the Manics around that time. And I remember they played it live, and I went, ugh. I want to hear a Manic song. Because we would play that in store, because I think it was the biggest selling single of that particular year.
I think it was,
7 or something.
Yeah.
And I needed to get away from it. Of course, the Manics rocked it up and all that kind of stuff. And it was released as a single, I believe. Yeah. Maybe a digital single. But I remember hearing it live. I just went, oh. Lucky it's over in 3.5 minutes.
I saw them support the Foo Fighters at Man City's old ground. Must have been around that time.
Wow.
And I remember them doing it and thinking, what's this? Why are they doing Rihanna's song? And I'm thinking, actually, it's a very, very good version, this. I do like it.
Yeah, I get it. I have listened to it since, but because I'd only seen the Manics a handful of times. Obviously, they only toured Australia once, and then I moved here. You're going to realise, so just a little bit more about me is when I moved over in 2005, that was when Lifeblood had failed. So they had stopped touring, I reckon, seriously, like a month or two before I arrived. And I remember just going, cool, I'm moving to London. I can see the Manic Street Preachers.
And then that happened.
And then they say, we're going on a bloody hiatus.
Yeah.
Which I remember they threatened to do that. And I remember because there used to be this charity, I think it was through XFM or Radio X, so I think it was XFM back then, where they had a charity show at the end of the year. There was one at Brixton and there was one in Manchester. And the Manics played that, and it was my first ever trip to Manchester. But I went, I need to see the Manics before they break up, because they were threatening to do that. So my first gig was at whatever the big venue in Manchester is. Had an absolute ball. I remember the Magic Numbers supported as well, who I'd never seen live. But they were pretty good live, but the Manics were just unbelievable. And I just went, it was worth the trip. And I remember that's when I learned trains were really expensive in this country.
Oh, silly expensive. It was more than probably at the Manchester Evening News Arena, which has changed names.
Glad I went.
Yeah. So I saw them there, supported by Mulder and Scully. Catatonia, thank you. Yeah,
Catatonia. Another Welsh band.
Yeah, another Welsh band, and I didn't like Catatonia, so I had to put up with 40 minutes of Catatonia before the Manics came on. I was not a happy bunny for 40 minutes. I was like,
where are they now? Of the time. Well,
I think we've come to the end of the album. I think as an overview for the album, I love the diversity. I love the fact that they jump around. I love the fact that they flex all over the place. They say, we are the Manics. We can do what we want when we want. And I think that the majority of the tracks hit home. I think they are, I think there are some classics on there and some very, very good tracks on there.
I wish they'd play some live because this album just never gets a look in.
Yeah,
it's sad because I'd love to hear Dead Martyrs, His Last Painting, Intravenous Ignite, the more rocky ones, of course.
Yeah.
I'm just surprised they just don't throw one in. Like found that song. It's 3 minutes. Boom, it's over and done with. Imagine kicking off the next tour with that song.
Yeah, because I've seen them. I don't know how many times I've seen them. I've seen them a lot, and they have played with the track list. Sometimes they have thrown in a more obscure track because they know that their fans are intelligent and understand their back catalogue. I've no idea why they don't come to this album.
Yeah. And considering how many songs are on it.
It's a strange one. I've heard them do a couple, but then they don't do anything from it since. So it's a pity. It really is, because there are some great tracks to be done live there.
Do you know what I love to see? Like Nicky, and he knows he's not a good singer, but I think his solo album is all right. I can listen to it probably once or twice a year.
Yeah.
Look, it's great for what it is. It really is. It's so lo-fi. It's great. But he could do, he was leads, vocals on a few songs. Like there was that B-side of Ballad of the Bangkok Novotel. I think that's actually that is an example of a really good B-side. That would never be on the album.
No.
So I think when they're B-sides, you go, oh, this is actually a really good B-side. If it was on the album, you go, this is not very great. So
it's
obviously, and you could do Wattsville Blues. Wattsville Blues, we've talked about it, but it's like, should have been a B-side. But he should do a tour and just do his song.
Yeah, I think he should maybe give James a break, because every gig they go off and James does a couple of acoustic tracks. Maybe James should get 5 minutes off, and Nicky should get up and earn his shilling for a change.
Do you know what? That's a brilliant idea.
It is.
It's a brilliant idea.
Maybe it's a toss of a coin at the start of the gig. Who's going to have the break today?
Yeah.
Let's flick the coin. Yeah.
Love it.
Right.
I love it.
We've come to the end of our time. Thank you very, very much for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure. I've learned a lot from you. I've got some remixes to go away and listen to. Would you come back on?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Good man. Well, I hope that everyone has found us both entertaining. Is there anything that you want to promote of your own that you want to get people to listen to?
Oh, as I said, I'm on Totally Wide Radio, but I don't actually really promote that much because I accumulate all these songs, and I said most of them are kind of funk and disco and edits, and it's dance music, I suppose. And I just, it's my other love. When I was growing up, I just listened to quote unquote rock music, and then everyone changes. You get a bit older, you hear a song, it's really good. But Totally Wide Radio, if you're into that. If you're
cool.
Kind of,
Well,
my show is called The House of Funk.
The House of Funk. I will be definitely tuning in.
The House of Funk.
Because I have a soft spot for funk. Yeah. Don't tell anyone.
Right? So when I did radio back in Australia and here, I did the classic radio, of playing a couple of songs, talking about it. Totally Wide Radio, I do not. It is just a playlist.
Just a playlist.
So you don't get to hear my dulcet tones. So
right. Okay.
I will soon.
But we get to hear your taste in music, and that tells more about a person than sometimes they're allowed to say. Exactly. It's been fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you so much for supporting me going through this album. I'm off to go and listen to it again with fresh ears now. And I will get in touch with you, and we will book in another episode. So, Darren, thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you.